The spaceport on Rylos Prime was always noisy even at dawn. Shuttles landed with loud thuds carrying passengers from distant star systems. Merchants shouted their offers in dozens of alien languages. Smoke from cooking stalls curled into the air, blending with the scent of strange spices and burning metal. Among the crowd, a small boy with messy hair and clothes too big for him darted between crates and legs. His name was Ethan. He had learned to survive here by being fast, quiet, and clever. He knew every nook of the port where guards rarely went, and he could slip past vendors without being noticed. Today his stomach growled louder than usual. He hadn't eaten in nearly a day. He had scavenged scraps from stalls, but they weren't enough. Coins were scarce and honest work rarely paid quickly. Ethan's eyes scanned the busy street, landing on a candy stall near the central platform. Bright, colorful sweets were piled high in glass containers. The vendor was busy arguing with a customer over a price, giving Ethan the perfect opportunity. He crept closer, keeping low and careful. His fingers hovered over the candies. Just as he reached for a handful, he froze. A soft whimper reached his ears. Ethan turned his head and saw her. She was crouched behind a stack of crates, her large eyes wide and fearful. Her skin shimmered faintly in the early sunlight, a pale mix of blue and silver. She looked fragile, like she could disappear if a breeze touched her wrong. The girl's stomach growled too, and her eyes flicked toward the candy. Ethan's heart tightened. Most kids his age would have ignored someone else's hunger. Most would have even pushed her away. But something about her made him pause. Maybe it was her eyes, so trusting, so small and scared in a city so large. Or maybe it was the memory of his own childhood, days when he had no food, no friend, no one to help him. He glanced at the vendor. The man was shouting and didn't notice Ethan anymore. Quick as a shadow, Ethan grabbed a small handful of candies and slipped behind the crates. He dropped them in front of the girl without making a sound. She looked at him with wide eyes, then slowly picked up the candy. "Thank you," she whispered. Her voice was soft, musical, almost like a song. Ethan smiled. "Don't thank me too loud," he said, grinning. "I don't want to get caught." The girl nodded and quickly stuffed a piece of candy in her mouth. Her eyes lit up, and for a moment, Ethan forgot the hunger in his own stomach. He was happy just seeing her eat. "Why are you alone?" he asked. She shook her head. I have no one." Ethan's heart sank. He knew the feeling. He had no family either. His parents were gone, taken by a mining accident years ago. The orphanage he had stayed in had long since closed, leaving him to survive alone. He could see the fear and uncertainty in her eyes. "You shouldn't stay here," he said quietly. "It's dangerous. Guards come around and they don't like kids stealing." The girl looked at him with a mix of curiosity and fear. "Stealing?" Ethan laughed softly. "Yeah, I got some candy for you. That's all." Her small lips curved into the faintest smile. She had no words, but the gratitude in her eyes was enough. Ethan felt something warm in his chest. It was a feeling he didn't know how to name, a mix of pride and hope. Suddenly, a shout rang out. "Hey, who took my candy?" The vendor had spotted the missing sweets. Ethan's heart pounded. "Go," he whispered to the girl. "Run, hide." Without another word, she nodded and darted behind a stack of crates, moving like a shadow herself. Ethan kept low and slipped out of the stall area, weaving through the crowd. The vendor chased after him, but Ethan was faster, smaller, and cleverer. Within moments, he had vanished from sight. Later that night, Ethan lay on the rooftop of an abandoned warehouse, staring at the stars. He thought about the girl. He didn't know her name, didn't know where she lived, didn't even know her species exactly. But he couldn't forget her. There was something about her eyes, her voice, the way she had trusted him despite everything. For the girl, Lyria, the night was quiet too. She huddled in a small corner of the port, clutching the candies close to her chest. She had eaten some already, but the rest she saved. She whispered to herself, "I will remember him. I will not forget the human who helped me when I had nothing." Years passed and life moved on, though neither forgot that brief encounter. Ethan grew into a young man, working as an engineer on interstellar freighters. He had traveled across dozens of planets, fixing engines, navigating dangerous cargo runs, and surviving the harshness of life among humans and aliens alike. He had grown hardened, cynical even, but he had also grown clever and capable. His heart still ached sometimes with the memory of the girl he once helped. Meanwhile, Lyria's life had changed dramatically. She survived in the shadows, growing up in secret, learning her people's ways and history. She had a natural gift for leadership and strategy, intelligence far beyond her years. She never forgot the human who had shown her kindness. That small act had planted a seed in her, a belief that even those with nothing could make a difference, that trust and courage could change a life. She carried that lesson through her childhood, into her rise among her people. 20 years later, the galaxy buzzed with news of a new queen. Lyria had united her fractured planet and brokered alliances with neighboring systems. She was strong, intelligent, and fair, commanding respect from humans and aliens alike. Her decisions were calculated yet compassionate. Stories of her rise spread across space, reaching even the remote freighters where Ethan worked. Ethan was repairing an engine in a dusty cargo bay when the news arrived. A communication screen lit up with a broadcast, showing a regal figure addressing a crowd of cheering citizens. His heart skipped a beat. There, standing tall and commanding, was Lyria. Even after 20 years, he recognized her. Her eyes, the same eyes that had looked at him with wonder, now shone with confidence and power. He couldn't believe it. 20 years ago, she had been a hungry little girl, fragile and scared. Now she was a queen, a leader of an entire planet. Ethan's mind raced with questions. Would she remember him? Would she even care about a human boy who had stolen candy all those years ago? The ship's captain clapped him on the shoulder. "You're staring too hard, Ethan. What's got you like this?" Ethan shook his head, still staring at the screen. "That girl, I knew her a long time ago before." He trailed off, unsure how to explain. The captain shrugged. "Well, she looks important. Maybe you'll meet her one day. Lucky for you, our next delivery is to her capital." Ethan didn't respond. He couldn't stop thinking about her. Something inside him told him this was more than coincidence. Maybe fate had a strange way of bringing people back together. When his ship finally arrived at Lyria's planet, the capital city gleamed with towering spires, streets lined with banners, and citizens of every species celebrating their queen. Ethan stepped off the shuttle, feeling a strange mix of awe and fear. He navigated the crowd, his eyes scanning every face, hoping to catch a glimpse of her. Then he saw her. Lyria moved through the crowd like a force of nature, every step commanding attention. Her robes shimmered in the sunlight and her eyes scanned the crowd with precision. And then she looked directly at him. Ethan froze. Time seemed to stop. Recognition flickered in her eyes, followed by a soft, almost imperceptible smile. She remembered. She knew him. A guard approached him, bowing slightly. "The Queen requests an audience." Ethan's heart pounded in his chest. He followed, unsure if he was walking into honor or humiliation. But as he entered the grand palace, he saw her again, closer this time. Her presence was overwhelming. Strong, regal, yet there was a warmth in her gaze that reminded him of that small, hungry girl in the shadows of a market. She spoke first. Her voice was calm but firm, musical and familiar. "Ethan," he blinked. "You remember me?" She nodded. "How could I forget the human who stole candy for a starving girl? That moment changed my life. It taught me that even the smallest act of kindness can echo across years and across worlds." Ethan's mouth went dry. He had no words, only memories rushing back, the fear, the candy, the trust in her eyes. I didn't know it mattered," he said softly. Lyria smiled, a mixture of nostalgia and pride. "It did. It mattered more than you can imagine." As they spoke, the palace staff moved around them, but for a moment the noise of the city faded. It was just them, two souls connected by an act of compassion long ago, now meeting again under circumstances neither could have imagined. Ethan realized something important. He wasn't just a visitor in her world. He was part of it, part of a story that had begun with a small candy, a hungry girl, and a brave choice. The galaxy outside the palace windows seemed vast, full of possibilities. And for the first time in years he felt hope, not just for himself but for the future he might share with Lyria. The Queen led him to a balcony overlooking the city. Below, the citizens cheered, ships glided through the skies, and the sunlight sparkled on the towers. Ethan took a deep breath, feeling the weight of years and the lightness of destiny all at once. Lyria turned to him. "The galaxy is wide, Ethan. There are many challenges ahead. But I want you by my side. You've shown courage and heart that few possess. Together we can do more than I ever dreamed." Ethan nodded, a mixture of pride, fear, and excitement coursing through him. "I'll do my best," he said. "I won't let you down." She smiled, and for the first time in 20 years, Ethan saw the girl he had helped, the hungry. The palace of Queen Lyria was unlike anything Ethan had ever seen. Towers of shimmering crystal rose into the sky, reflecting the golden light of the planet's twin suns. Bridges connected floating platforms, and gardens with alien flora stretched across terraces, their bioluminescent petals glowing even in the sunlight. Ethan could barely take it all in, yet one thought kept returning to his mind. The girl he had once helped was now a queen, ruling an entire planet and beyond. Lyria led him through grand halls, her steps graceful and measured. Guards and aides bowed as she passed, yet her eyes remained fixed on Ethan, a mixture of recognition and expectation in her gaze. The queen's voice broke the silence. "You have seen much in your life, Ethan. You have survived when many would have failed. Your courage, your cleverness. It is why I asked you to come." Ethan nodded, feeling both nervous and honored. I don't know if I'm worthy, Your Majesty. I'm just a human. I fixed engines, ran from guards, and barely survived each day." Lyria stopped and turned to him. Her expression softened. "You forget something important. That small act of kindness, giving me candy when I was alone and starving, changed the course of history. That is what matters. That is what makes you worthy." Ethan swallowed hard. He had never thought of himself as important. Yet hearing her words, he felt a strange sense of purpose awaken. He realized that humanity, even in its simplest form, had power. Courage, empathy, and cleverness were not measured in titles or armies. They were measured in choices. For the next several days, Ethan explored the palace and its city under Lyria's guidance. He met her advisors, scholars, and diplomats. He learned about the complex political structure she had built, how she had united fractured systems with fairness and intelligence, and how she had defended her people against outside threats. Every story he heard about her leadership filled him with awe. Lyria watched him closely during these days, noticing the way he interacted with others. Unlike many humans she had met, he did not seek praise or recognition. He helped where he could, spoke truth even when it was inconvenient, and treated everyone with respect. She saw in him the same courage he had shown as a boy, the same empathy that had once saved her from hunger. One evening, as the twin suns began to set, Lyria invited Ethan to the balcony overlooking the capital city. Ships glided through the sky, casting long shadows across the streets. Below, citizens waved and cheered for their queen. "You see this, Ethan?" Lyria asked. "Every star system, every planet in my alliance looks to us now. The decisions we make here will affect millions of lives. I need someone I can trust by my side." Ethan felt the weight of her words. "I'll do my best," he said. "I won't let you down." Lyria smiled, a mixture of pride and relief. "I know you won't. That is why I asked you here. Humanity has a gift, Ethan. It is not strength in armies or power in numbers. It is courage, empathy, and the ability to act when others hesitate. You have that gift." The next challenge came sooner than either expected. Reports arrived of a rogue faction from a neighboring star system attempting to take control of a vital trade route. The faction was well armed and ruthless, threatening both human and alien colonies. Lyria convened a council, discussing strategies with her advisors. Ethan listened quietly, then spoke. "We need to think differently," he said. "They expect us to attack head-on to show force, but they won't see an unexpected move coming. We can use the trade route's terrain to our advantage, set up defenses that look weak but are traps, and force them into a position where they can't escape." Lyria studied him. "And you are certain this will work?" Ethan nodded. "It's risky, but it's better than meeting them directly with just soldiers. We can save lives that way." Lyria agreed, impressed by his insight. She immediately authorized preparations based on his plan. Over the next several days, Ethan worked closely with military engineers, designing hidden traps, mapping escape routes, and coordinating communication channels. His experience on cargo ships and freighters gave him knowledge that many seasoned strategists lacked. He knew how systems worked under pressure, how to anticipate problems before they happened, and how to adapt quickly. When the rogue fleet finally approached, they expected to meet a standard defense. Instead, they encountered Ethan's clever strategies. Hidden energy nets, automated traps, and diversionary routes disoriented the enemy. Lyria's fleet attacked at the perfect moment, striking decisively while the rogue forces were trapped and confused. Within hours, the threat was neutralized, and no lives from the civilian colonies were lost. Lyria turned to Ethan afterward, her eyes shining. I knew you had courage, but your mind. It is extraordinary. You have saved countless lives today. Ethan shrugged, feeling awkward with praise. I did what made sense. I just wanted to help. That is exactly why you are human, Lyria said. You think of people, not just tactics. That is why I trust you. In the days that followed, Ethan became more involved in Lyria's court. He advised on trade, interstellar diplomacy, and defense strategies. Together they worked to unite distant planets, resolve conflicts, and strengthen alliances. His simple human perspective often revealed solutions that alien advisors had overlooked, and his empathy allowed him to mediate disputes with fairness. The citizens began to notice him as well. They saw a human who was not only clever and brave, but who acted with kindness and integrity. Stories spread about the human who had once helped the Queen as a child, and now stood beside her, shaping the galaxy's future. Yet, it was not only politics and strategy that defined their days. There were quiet moments too, walking through gardens where alien flowers glowed softly, observing alien birds that sang in harmonies no human ear had heard before, sharing meals where Ethan introduced simple human recipes that made Lyria laugh. These moments built trust, friendship, and something deeper, a bond forged over time, experience, and mutual respect. One evening, a festival lit the palace city with vibrant colors. Citizens danced, lights twinkled, and music filled the air. Lyria took Ethan's hand and led him to a quiet balcony overlooking the festivities. Do you remember the candy? She asked softly, a teasing note in her voice. Ethan laughed, remembering that long-ago day. I do. I didn't think it mattered much at the time. I was just trying to help a hungry girl. Lyria smiled, her eyes shimmering. It mattered more than you know. That small act reminded me that even the smallest kindness can change lives. It reminded me that courage and heart are stronger than fear. And now here we are, facing the galaxy together. Ethan looked out over the city, the glowing streets and the cheering citizens. He felt something he had not felt in years: hope, purpose, and belonging. I never imagined it would lead here, he admitted. Neither did I, Lyria said. But life has a way of surprising us, and now together we can do more than we ever dreamed. Weeks passed and their partnership grew stronger. Ethan's ideas and insights helped Lyria resolve disputes, improve infrastructure on her planets, and strengthen her alliances. Together they faced new challenges: traders who tried to cheat, planets on the brink of rebellion, and alien species with old grudges. Each time, Ethan's courage and empathy, combined with Lyria's intelligence and authority, turned potential disasters into victories. Through it all, Ethan never lost sight of the girl he had once helped. He remembered her eyes, her soft voice, and the trust she had shown. And through every challenge, he saw that same spark in her now. A queen who remembered that compassion was as important as power. Eventually, a grand council was held to address the future of interstellar trade and alliances. Leaders from hundreds of planets gathered, some skeptical, some cautious, others openly hostile. Lyria spoke first, commanding attention with a calm, clear voice. She outlined a vision of peace, cooperation, and mutual respect. Then she turned to Ethan. You have seen the human's courage and insight, she said. I have known him since he was a boy, and his heart has never wavered. Together we represent the best of both our species. Let us work as partners, united not by fear or power, but by respect and understanding. The council members murmured, impressed by the partnership. Slowly, alliances began to form, trade agreements were signed, and old grudges were set aside. A new era seemed to dawn in the galaxy, one guided not by force alone, but by the courage and empathy of a human and the wisdom and vision of a queen. At the end of a long day, Lyria and Ethan stood once more on the balcony, looking at the stars above. The twin suns had set, leaving a sky full of glittering lights. Ethan reflected on the journey. The dusty streets of Rylos Prime, the stolen candy, the frightened girl, and now the queen who trusted him. You know, he said quietly, I never imagined that a single choice could matter this much. Lyria reached out, taking his hand. It does, every choice matters. Every act of courage, every moment of kindness, it echoes further than we ever know. You have shown me that humans can be extraordinary, and now together we can show the galaxy what courage and heart truly mean. Ethan smiled, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. He had survived hardships, risked everything for a stranger, and now stood beside a queen shaping the future of the stars. He realized that humanity's true power was not in weapons or numbers, but in empathy, courage, and the willingness to act when others hesitate. The city below shimmered in lights, and distant,